Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. That was so weird to say, oh my gosh. If you don't know, my name's Eden and normally I would be posting on one of my two TikTok accounts instead of YouTube. I would either be posting about books on my BookTok account, edenvictorria, or I would be posting about lifestyle, fashion, beauty, perfume on my lifestyle account, Eden's Life. Apparently I woke up one day and I thought, no, that's not enough. Now I need to conquer YouTube. So that is what we're doing. I've decided that every single week I'll be posting a video on YouTube regarding books, fashion, lifestyle, beauty, perfume, all of it. Basically, longer versions of what I already do on TikTok. Today, I thought the best way to kick off this channel would be with a book video. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's get into that right now. We're going to be tier ranking book tropes, romance book tropes. Let me go through the categories with you now. Also, before we start, I'd just like to preface, these are my opinions, my personal opinions. If you feel differently, perfect. If you feel the same, perfect. Either way, it's absolutely fine. All I would say is that these are just my opinions, don't come for me if you disagree. So first we have delightful and delectable, and that is exactly what I mean. Delightful and delectable book tropes. Book tropes I love with all of my heart, all of my being. Book tropes that if I see you have this in your book, I'm gonna be like, okay, realistically, there is a 90% chance of me liking that. Actually, no, that's a big fat lie. That's probably not the case. But I really do like these tropes. These are my favourite tropes of all time. Then we have just plain old delightful, which is, I like these tropes, but oftentimes I find problems with them, but I do genuinely like these tropes. Next we have neither hate nor love, which is exactly what it means. I neither hate it or I love it. It comes and it goes. I really don't mind. I can take it or leave it. It's not all that big of a deal to me. I am completely neutral. Then we have this has to be done perfectly, and the perfectly is in capital letters for a reason. It has to be done absolutely perfectly, otherwise there is no reason why I should be reading this. And this category will make so much more sense when we start putting tropes in there, because you will know exactly what I mean by it has to be done perfectly. Then we have the I usually hate this category, which, let's be real, I usually hate this, but maybe I read one book or two books and it kind of started changing my mind and I was like, oh, maybe that trope isn't so bad after all. And lastly, we have the absolutely not, the get in the bin please, the why is this even a trope section, because why is this even a trope? So let's get started. Okay, so the first one we have is arranged marriage. Now, I haven't read all that many books with the arranged marriage trope in there, but when I have read it, it's been fine. It's been simple, nothing special. I don't think there are any points in this trope that makes me, oh my gosh, I have to read this, you know? No, that's a lie. Oh my gosh, The Sweetest Oblivion is an arranged marriage. Oh my gosh, wait. The Sweetest Oblivion is an arranged marriage. Is it? Okay, then I'm gonna have to put the I was going to put it in the neither hate nor love, but I think I'm gonna have to move it to the delightful purely because of The Sweetest Oblivion. No, I lied, because that's the only book that I really... No, okay, we're gonna leave it, we're gonna put it in delightful. Okay, so next we have One of Us is Famous. Now, I've only read two books with the One of Us is Famous trope, I believe, and the first book is To Love Jason Thorne, which he was an actor, a famous actor, and the second one is Twisted Games, where she was a princess. They were both okay. Like, no, actually, sorry, that's a lie. Twisted Games, I believe, was actually quite good when I read it. I think if I read it now, I would have different opinions, but when I read it, I liked it. But the fame trope, like, if it's there, it's there. If somebody tells me you need to read this book and it just so happens to have this trope in it, I'm not gonna be like, oh my gosh, please get that trope away from me. No, I'm gonna be like, okay, I'll read it if I trust your opinions, you know? So I think I'm going to put it in the neither hate nor love, because I don't really care for it. Like, it doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't, again, I can take it or leave it. Next is Best Friend's Brother. Now, here is the thing. This is the same thing that happens with Brother's Best Friend as well. Sometimes the person who, let's say it's best friend's brother, the best friend in question who has the brother, sometimes they overreact for no good reason. Don't get me wrong. Yes, okay, it's going to be a surprise when you find out that your best friend and your brother are going out. I get that. But sometimes I sit there thinking, was this all necessary? Was it really necessary, Susie? I don't think so. Let's calm down. Let's take a few breaths and figure this out, okay? Go lie down, have some chamomile tea, relax, and then you'll come to realise it really isn't that big of a deal. Don't get me wrong, yes, you were surprised, but you don't have to act as if your world is ending, because it's not, funnily enough. So I feel like this one has to be done perfectly in order for me to say, yes, I'll read it, yes, I enjoyed it, because otherwise I just don't want to read it. It's unnecessary. Next we have forced proximity. Now in my opinion, I think every romance book has forced proximity because you're going to be in close proximity to each other. It's a romance book. But there are certain situations where it's like the one bed trope, or can't think of any more, but that, or like say if they're like going away and they have to share a house or roommate or something like that, I don't know. So I get that. It's just, you know, neither hate nor love. Very average, very, very average. And we're not looking for average over here. We're looking for above average. Next we have Marriage of Convenience. I don't even need to explain it to you. It's going straight in the delightful and delectable. Everything about it is just fantastic. Now Marriage of Convenience and fake dating, I don't have the same opinion on. Like, I don't have the same reaction to. I have a much stronger reaction to Marriage of Convenience. I don't know why. Something about you actually saying I do. Right, it's all legal. Like, you are his wife. You are his, yes, you are his wife. He is your husband. Like, I don't know, something about that is just so pleasant. So we're putting you in delightful and delectable because you are brilliant. I love you in every which way. Then we go from fantastic to absolutely not. Amnesia. What do you mean? You fall in love with this guy. You and this guy, lovely. Yay. Wee, love each other. Woo. Then you accidentally, because you don't do this on purpose, get into an accident. Now you are in a coma. This boy is sat next to you day and night, holding your hand, praying for you to wake up. When you wake up, you look over to him and you go, who are you? I don't know you. Charlotte, please, don't do that. That's unnecessary. Nobody asked. Okay, why is that even a thing? I don't want to read that. And then he goes and does his sad puppy thing because the love of his life does not remember him. So that's going to go into absolutely not. I don't know why I was laughing at that, but that's going into absolutely not. Next we have Billionaire. If I read a billionaire book, good for you, well done, lovely. It's okay, like, it's nothing special. I like it when they show that they love her through their money. If you're going to be a billionaire, let's have it work for us, okay? I want gifts. I want you, when you mess up, like, buy her a house. When you mess up, buy her a yacht, you know? I love to see that in books. It's great. So we're going to go for delightful because he is delightful. Who doesn't love a book about a billionaire? It's great. You know what's even better? When they're both billionaires. It's just lovely. Then we have royalty. Again, the only royalty book I've read is Twisted Games, and it was fine, but I'm not actively looking for new royalty books. So that's just going to go into neither hate nor love. It's fine. It was fine when I read it, but I'm not actively, oh my word, I need you. I need royalty books. No, I don't. Okay? Then we have secret relationship. Now it depends, what is the reason? Why is it a secret relationship? Why is the relationship secret? Because if there's a legitimate reason for the relationship to be secret, not just because you're scared to tell people, then okay, cool, fine, but I don't know. And I can't even think about a book that I've read that has a secret relationship as a trope. So I don't know where I'm going to put this one, actually. I was going to say this has to be done perfectly, but I honestly cannot remember a book that has a secret relationship. And normally when I remember books, it's because they're memorable. So that means if I read any book that has a secret relationship in it, it wasn't memorable enough. So I'm just going to go, I'm not going to go into absolutely not. I'm going to go into neither hate nor love. Very neutral. Next, Grumpy Sunshine. I love, when a Grumpy Sunshine is good, a Grumpy Sunshine is good. Oh my goodness me. What I don't like, however, is when instead of it being Grumpy Sunshine, it's mean man, childlike girl. I don't like that combination. What I like is pessimist and the optimist. That's great. Instead of calling it Grumpy Sunshine, maybe we should just call it the pessimist and the optimist. Because I like when it's done well, it's done well. And I do really enjoy it. So I'm going to say this has to be done. No, I don't think I'm going to say delightful, actually. Because it's not necessarily it has to be done perfectly. It's just please don't do it wrong. So then maybe it has to be done perfect. No, I'm going to keep it in delightful. Because Generally, I do like Grumpy Sunshine. Okay, so Mafia love. I love Mafia books because it has action in it as well. Like, the main thing is romance, yes, but it does have a little bit of action, and I love a little bit of action. I love in Mafia books, I love a touch her and I'll pew pew, you know, touch her and I'll you. Because they actually go through with it instead of, you know, the hockey romance books when they'll say touch her and I'll you, and then somebody does touch her and you do nothing. You're a liar. That's what that's called, lying. Okay, but in Mafia, when they say touch her and I'll you, and you do touch her, guess what happens? Take a guess, friends. So for that, we will be putting you in delightful and delectable. Fake dating. Now again, I love fake dating. Not as much as I love Marriage and Convenience, but I do love fake dating. I'm trying to think of books that have fake dating in it that I didn't like, and I just can't. You know what? The only problem with fake dating is when it comes to a point when, you know, the 80% breakup and they're trying to get the girl back or trying to get the guy back or whatever they're trying to do, and they proceed to tell every single person in their mother, son and cat named Gary that they were fake dating. Keep it a secret. That's embarrassing. You want everybody to know that you're fake dating? Absolutely not. Nobody should know. They should never, ever, ever suspect a thing. That's what I want. I don't want, oh yeah, I knew you were fake dating. I knew you were faking it. No, I want you to have every single person fooled, okay? So we're going to put you in delightful because sometimes the endings are just not what I want them to be. So you can't go in delightful and delectable. Just simple delightful for you. Second chance. I have not read a second chance book that I like. Not one single second chance book I've read, I've liked. I'm saying that like I've read loads of second chance books, but I haven't. If you think you have a book that I'm going to absolutely love that has second chance in it, please recommend it to me. But right now, it's going in absolutely not, because why are you giving them a second chance? They had one chance and they failed. Therefore, bye. In my humble opinion. Maybe that's rude. No, it's not. You had one chance, you failed, therefore, goodbye. I don't understand why we're giving people second chances in relationships. No. Next we have sports romance, and the thing is, it depends on the sport, because there are some sports I love reading about. For example, American football. Love is a bit of an overstatement. I like reading American football. If I'm going to choose a sports romance, most of the time I'll try and lean towards American football. Most of the sports romances that I know of are ice hockey romances, so it's kind of hard to get away from them if you want to go down the sports romance route. But what I would say, I don't know. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put you in simple delightful, because I do like a sports romance, and sometimes there was one time where I went through like 5 or 10 sports romance books just continuously because I was really in the mood for it. So I can read it, I like it, I do like it. Workplace romance. Now, here's the thing. In my opinion, I think workplace romance mixed with fake dating, or even better, workplace romance mixed with Marriage and Convenience, are some of the best books. The problem is people don't write enough of them, okay? I need more work romance books, okay? I love workplace romance books, love them so much, but I don't find enough good ones of them. For example, Terms and Conditions, fantastic. But then I think The Favour is also workplace and Marriage and Convenience. But what I want more of them. I need more of these books. If you have any workplace romance recommendations that they have fake dating or Marriage and Convenience in, love it. Absolutely love it. So we're going to put you in delightful and delectable. Then we have Brother's Best Friend. Again, the same thing I said about best friend's brother. You're always exaggerating. The brother or the best friend or whoever is the person in the middle, stuck in the middle, is always just so extra with when they find out that the two people have been dating. And also, I've read this Brother's Best Friend book, and the guy, the main male character, was literally terrified of his best friend finding out that he was going out with the younger sister. I don't know why you're so terrified, sir. It was really unnecessary. Like, very, very it was kind of concerning why you were that consumed. Even the sister, the little sister, was going, what, why? What, like, are you okay? Are you all right? because he was just doing way too much. So we're going to say, again, with like the best friend's brother, this has to be done perfectly. Bully. Bully. My question to people out there is, why is this a trope? You know what though? Actually, okay, I've never intentionally read a book that has the bully trope, but when I have read books that have the bully trope, the majority of them I hate. Like, I really, really, really don't like them. It's unnecessary. But there's one book series that I read where I didn't realise it had the bully trope in it. And when I kept on reading, I was like, oh, is this the bully trope? But she kept on kind of fighting back as well. It was great. It was called The Darkest Note. I wouldn't recommend it to everybody because they're in high school. And normally I don't like high school books when it's set in secondary school or high school or whatever you want to call it. But this book, I don't know what it was about this book. I ran through it like nobody's business. I read 3 of these books in 3 days. 1 a day. That never happens. That was absolutely crazy. So I'm going to say I usually hate this because I usually do hate this. It was just in that one book series, The Darkest Note, I've forgotten the other 2, that it really, really worked, in my opinion. We have forced proximity again, so we're just going to put that in neither hate nor love. Didn't realise that was on there twice. Then we have stalker. A stalker. Oh dear. My question to you is, why, as a grown 30-something-year-old man, are you hiding in a wardrobe as if it's going to take you to Narnia at your full height of 6'4" or 5 or 6, goodness knows how tall you are. The taller it gets, the more embarrassing it gets. You're waiting for her to fall asleep. When she falls asleep, you come out of her wardrobe, and then you proceed to stand in front of her, watching her sleep. That's what I would call concerning and illegal. And then you leave a little rose, just to say, I'm thinking about you. Please don't think about me. That was unnecessary. I don't want you here, okay? And yes, I'm talking about Hunting and Haunting Adeline. We are going to put that in the absolutely not trope, because yes, I did read Hunting and Haunting Adeline. That doesn't mean that you have to. Okay, the second book was better than the first book, but you have to read the first book in order to read the second book. The reason why I think the second book is better than the first book is because there was no stalking in the second book. He was all stalked out. But in the first book, he was heavy, he was laying it thick. He was just laying it all out there. Just so stalky, which was just great. So there's that. Then we have the bad boy, good girl trope. I can take it or leave it. I don't actively look for this trope. When it's there, it's there. When it's not, it's not. Great. But don't, like, if you're going to be a bad boy, can you actually be a bad boy and not be, like, be morally grey? Don't be moody and annoying and rude. Don't be rude. It's not called rude boy, good girl. It's called bad boy. Ooh, morally grey. What's he going to do next, you know? We're going to put you in neither hate nor love. Oh, no. Or should we put you in this has to be done perfectly? Maybe I'll put you in this has to be done perfectly because sometimes these bad boys are not bad boys. Okay? They're angsty teens. And that's not cute. Especially when you're a grown adult and you're supposed to be a bad boy. And you're acting like a 15-year-old. Please. Charlie, please. No. Okay, amnesia. Oh, I've got that down twice. Okay, let's put that down to absolutely not. Slow burn. How slow is the burn? How slow are we burning for? Because if we're burning slowly for like 300 pages and then you hold hands, I can potentially see it. But if we're burning for 500 pages and you have yet to shake their hand, leave me alone. Don't recommend me that, because why? Why am I reading that? Especially if it's just romance. If it has, say if it's romance and fantasy or romance and dystopian and you're slow burn, there's other things going on in the book. So I can understand why it would be a slow burn, because you've got a fight scene, then you've got this, and you've got that, then you've got this, and then you come back to the romance. I love it. It works. It works really, really well in fantasy, dystopian, anything with like action, you know? But if it's just plain romance and nothing else is happening other than your love slowly, very, very slowly burning, no thank you. So we're going to say This has to be done perfectly. Or should I say I usually hate this? No, we're going to say this has to be done perfectly. Right person, wrong time. Absolutely not. Do I look like the type of person who wants to read a sad book? No. No, friends, I do not. Okay? That's not for me. At all. So why would I voluntarily put myself in that position? That doesn't sound smart at all. So we're going to go in absolutely not. So now we've got good boy, bad girl. I don't care for it. I've rarely seen this trope work well. So we're going to go in I usually hate this. Because it's not, I don't hate it, I don't hate it. Like, I'm not at the point where I'm like, why is this even a trope? It's just I haven't seen it done well. And I just don't care for it. Simply. Accidental pregnancy. Just gonna mosey on down to absolutely not, Phil, because what do you mean? You're accidentally getting pregnant and then you're like, okay, let's fall in love. In a book? I don't want to read that. No, thank you. And also, I don't know, like pregnancy, children, all of that stuff in books, in real life, great. Love it, brilliant. But in books, I don't want to read that. Also, especially because like when you hear baby talk in a book, or when it's like a young child and they're talking to their parent and then the parent is talking back, or there's a conversation between a young child and a grown adult. I don't like reading that. I don't know why. It just always sounds so badly written, so badly. So we're going to put you in absolutely not. Teacher student. Now most, all would say that's illegal. That shouldn't be allowed. That isn't allowed. You could go to jail for this. Yet here we are. Here it is as a book trope. I haven't read many student-teacher romances. I can't say that I have. But the ones that I have read, I didn't realise they were student-teacher. And I got into it and I was like, oh dear. Listen, if it's student-professor in a university, that's completely different. But when it is an underage child, because they are a child, under 18, with a grown adult teacher, something does not feel right there. Morally, it doesn't sit well with me. However, there is this one book that I read which does have that trope in it, and the book itself was good. The main male character was the teacher, and the female main character was the student. And the only reason I like this book, the girl was probably, I don't know if I would say she's one of my favourite female main characters, but she was a really good female main character. She had been through a lot. That book was quite heavy. I did not, you open the first page and oh my word, it is heavy. But from what I read, when I read it, I really did like the female main character. She was a really good character. The main male character, the teacher, didn't like him. However, saying all of that, I would still put it in absolutely not, because I don't want to read about that. The only reason I read that book was because my friend was like, this is a fantastic book. And I was like, you sure? And I really trust her for some unknown reason. And I read it and I was like, okay, fair enough. But I wouldn't read a student-teacher book again. Then we have Friends to Lovers. I don't know if I should put it in absolutely not or I usually hate this, because I don't think I've read any book where I've liked it and it's Friends to Lovers. I'm going to put it in I usually hate this because I don't have the same hate for it as I do Amnesia, Second Chance, Stalker, Amnesia again, Right Person, Wrong Time, Accidental Pregnancy, or Teacher Student. So it's going in I usually hate you. Hate this, not you. I hate everyone but you. Love it. Thank you. I'm special. Thank you so much. I love reading that. Thank you. I appreciate that. I know I'm special, but now you're reinforcing that I'm special and I love reading that. That's fantastic. However, that doesn't mean you should be rude to people. You can be indifferent towards them, but I don't want you to be rude and obnoxious. That's unnecessary. And sometimes these people are, and that's not okay with me. So what we're going to do, especially, imagine if you're supposed to meet their parents and because you hate everybody but her, you're rude to the parents. That doesn't sit very well with me. So I'm going to put you in this has to be done perfectly. Next we have childhood friends to lovers. I'm going to say, see, friends to lovers and childhood friends to lovers, different. Friends to lovers, I don't like. Childhood friends to lovers, no thank you. Childhood friends to lovers, I don't know, there's just something about it I just do not like at all. And if any book has childhood friends to lovers in it, I will try actively avoid it, because no thank you. Single parent, again, I don't like children in books. I really don't. However, what I will say is there are some books that I've read that have this single parent trope in it, and it actually isn't that bad. So I'm going to say I usually hate this, because when it's done well, it's done well. When it's done bad, when it's done well, it's done well. And every other time, it's just not great at all. Even average, just bad. Just semi-average bad. Semi-good bad. It has to be done fantastically for me to go, okay, cool, yes, single parent, love it. Enemies to lovers, I personally don't think in a romance book there should be enemies to lovers. It's more indifferent to lovers. It's more don't like you to lovers. It's more rivals to lovers. It's never really enemies to lovers. It's enemies to lovers when it's in a fantasy, when it's in a dystopian, when it's in a thriller. That makes sense. But when you're telling me that this girl, the owner of a cake shop, hates the man who comes in and gets a black coffee, because the reason she hates him is because he gets a black coffee and he doesn't have the cinnamon swirls, because that's what she specializes in, and she thinks that everybody should have a smile on their face every day, and that's the reason you hate him. Jessica, please don't do that. So we're going to put enemies to lovers in this has to be done perfectly, because I think it does. Otherwise, it's not enemies to lovers. It's just I don't like you to lovers. And who wants to read that? CEO ex-assistant. Again, terms and condition is CEO ex-assistant, workplace romance, marriage and convenience. So for that reason, I'm going to have to say delightful and Am I? You know what? Yeah, we're going to go for it. Think of the proposal. Fantastic film, but we're talking about books. The assistant knows the CEO inside and out, and they think that the CEO does not know them. Like, they think that he's just some gruff person who knows nothing about him, but all of a sudden, I don't know, something happens. I'm not entirely sure what would happen, but he starts doing things and she's like, oh my gosh, you do know me, you do listen. What's going on? This is crazy, you know? So we're gonna put that in delightful and delectable. Are we? Yeah, yes we are. We're going to put CEO ex-assistant in delightful and delectable. Then we have small town. I can take it or leave it. Sometime. No. Yes, I can take it or leave it. I'm going to put you in neither hate nor love, because I don't actively seek out small towns, but if you just so happen to be in a small town, cool. I do prefer things being set in like New York or in cities. I like it being set in a city, but sometimes you just need the small town feel. And when you need it, you need it. And when you don't, you don't. So we're putting you in neither hate nor love. Touch her and I'll you. Here's the thing. When it's done in a fantasy book, a mafia book, a dark romance book, this works, okay? Because you know they're going to go through with it. But when you are telling me that this, I don't know, 18-year-old boy in high school is going to somebody who touches her, don't lie to me. Please. Don't do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it in this has to be done perfectly. Yes, that's what we're going to do. The my wife. Don't touch my wife. Where's my wife? Who's done this to my wife? Da-di-da-di-da-di-da. My wife. Love it. However, please don't overdo it with the my wife. We get it. She's your wife. After the second time, I'm like, I've gone from to okay. So we're going to put you. When it's done well, it makes such a big impact. When it's overdone, or it's just put in a really random place, I don't care for it. So we're going to put you in this has to be done perfectly. Then the who did this to you. This is the thing. Who did this to you? It feels like it's a buzz phrase now. It feels like people just use this to say that they have it in their book. Like, that may be a controversial thing to say, but sometimes when Before TikTok, when I saw it, I was like, oh, who did this to you? Oh, I love that. But now, because everybody uses it and at such random points in their book, or they use it too often, it's lost its pizzazz, it's lost its flair. So it needs to be done so well for me to go, oh, who did this for you? And also, who did this for you is not going to make me want to read a book. I'm going to need a little bit more than who did this to you. Because if a who did this to you is mixed with amnesia, I don't want to read it. If a who did this to you is mixed with accidental pregnancy, I couldn't care less. Do you know what I mean? So we're going to put you in this has to be done perfectly. Otherwise, it just doesn't have the impact that you think it does, you know? So that is all of my opinions. I hope you liked this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comment section what videos you would like to see more of. I appreciate that you watched till the end of this video because I have a feeling this is going to be quite a long video. So if you liked it, please thumbs up, subscribe, follow, all of the above. I'll see you next week for a new video. Bye.